He's hammered away at the car industry, but now the incoming US president has the big pharmaceutical companies in his sights. In his first news conference since November's election, Donald Trump said drug companies are charging patients too much and that his government can and will negotiate prices down. Let's listen to what he had to say.
We have to get our drug industry coming back. Our drug industry has been disastrous. They're leaving left and right. They supply our drugs, but they don't make them here to a large extent. And the other thing we have to do is create new bidding procedures for the drug industry because they're getting away with murder. Pharma has a lot of lobbies, a lot of lobbyists, and a lot of power. And there's very little bidding on drugs. We're the largest buyer of drugs in the world, and yet we don't bid properly. And we're going to start bidding. I'm going to save billions of dollars over a period of time.
And what an effect those comments had. Let's take a look at the S&P 500 share index. Minutes after those comments were made, that index plunged by about 0.5%. The top 9 drug companies listed on the exchange together lost about $25 billion worth of their market value in that short time. Amongst those, many of the big pharma companies had been hoping during the campaign that Trump would make it easier for them to raise prices. And as a result, companies like Johnson & Johnson, Pfizer and Bristol-Myers Squibb all saw their shares surge on the day that Trump won the election. But fast forward to last Wednesday, and you can see those same share prices plunge. For more on this, let's go straight to Paris, and our editor-at-large, Craig Copetas, is standing by for us. Craig, thanks so much for joining us again. Craig, let's break down exactly what Trump said. In particular, 2 things stood out for me. First, he says we have to get our drug industry coming back. And secondly, he says there's very little bidding on drugs. What exactly does he mean by these 2 statements?
I first want to make sure, Azar, that we're really talking about Donald Trump. We're not talking about Bernie Sanders here. I'm a little confused by this. Look, the 6 biggest drug makers in the United States avoid around $7 billion a year in taxes by shifting their profits and operations overseas. And this is going on. It's a deal known as corporate tax inversion, where a European or foreign company buys an American company and they move and they headquarter overseas. So what Trump is saying, carrot and stick, you come back. And if you don't, you're going to be in trouble. And a lot of people don't like that. As far as the bidding, well, Bernie Sanders, excuse me, I mean, Donald Trump is absolutely correct. The government buys in bulk and there's no discount because of the lobbyists and all the money going back and forth. Now, I'm going to now drug you with figures here. Last year, there were about 4.3 billion prescriptions written in the United States. Americans spend about $374 billion a year on pharmaceuticals, and the Medicaid portion of that cost is more than $103 billion. You might want to double or triple that when you put in all the drugs that America buys. So they're looking for a deal.
So what Donald Trump is pushing for, at the end of the day, is lower drug prices for patients. Aren't cheaper drugs good for everybody and the economy in general?
And this is one of the few areas where we can't have an argument. Yes, the Center for Disease Control consistently reports that what they call health-related product losses amount to about $576 to $600 billion annually. It's a lot of money in loss.
Great. Craig Copetas in Paris, thank you ever so much.